Good evening. This is Akashvani. I am Valsa Williams with the news at 9. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gives 10-point call to action at G7 to address food, health and development-related issues plaguing the world. Security and success of Indo-Pacific region is important for the entire world, says Prime Minister Modi at Quad Summit in Hiroshima. Prime Minister holds bilateral meetings with world leaders on the sidelines of G7 summit, including French, US and Ukrainian presidents and Japanese Prime Minister. Karnataka Cabinet takes in-principle decision to implement 5 guarantees promised by the Congress in its manifesto. India win 3 gold and a bronze medal in Archery World Cup Stage 2 at Shanghai. And in IPL, Chennai Super Kings qualifies for playoffs, defeating Delhi Capitals by 77 runs in Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan today. Addressing the G7 session on working together to address multiple crises, Mr. Modi gave a 10-point call to action to address food, health and development-related issues plaguing the world. The Prime Minister suggested that the global leaders must develop inclusive food systems that protect the most vulnerable, including marginal farmers. He exhorted them to adopt millets, the path to nutritional and environmental benefit. The Prime Minister stressed on the need to promote digital health to ensure global universal health coverage and develop resilient healthcare system. He also suggested to build development models inspired by needs of developing countries. Mr. Modi said it is important to work together for the betterment of the planet and to address the challenges the countries face relating to sectors such as healthcare, wellness and food security. Briefing reporters, Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra said that Prime Minister Modi today strongly advocated adoption and awareness about millets.
Prime Minister Modi strongly advocated adoption and awareness about millets. In his intervention, he brought out very clearly that millets provide a very strong path for strong, good, balanced nutrition. Through water conservation, they extend environmental benefits and have the propensity to grow well across different agroclimatic zones. Third, he focused on the fairly substantial problem of food wastage and how efforts to stem the food wastage can be directly linked to our efforts to strengthen food security.
On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Modi held bilateral talks with several world leaders, including French, US and Ukrainian presidents and Japanese Prime Minister. With French President Emmanuel Macron, the Prime Minister reviewed the progress in strategic partnership between India and France in various areas, including co-production and manufacturing in defense sector and civil nuclear cooperation. They agreed to expand the partnership to newer domains. During his meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Mr. Modi conveyed India's clear support for dialogue and diplomacy as the preferred means to find a way forward for Ukraine. Briefing media Foreign Secretary Kwatra said,
in meeting with President Zelensky, Prime Minister of India conveyed India's clear support for dialogue and diplomacy to find a way forward. Prime Minister also said that India will continue to extend humanitarian assistance to the people of Ukraine.
In his bilateral talks with his Japanese counterpart, Mr. Modi discussed ways to enhance India-Japan friendship across different sectors, ways to synergize efforts of their respective G7 and G20 presidencies, and the need to highlight the voice of Global South. At the summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden greeted each other warmly and shared a hug as they met at the venue. The meeting with Biden today comes ahead of Prime Minister Modi's official visit to the US from the 21st to the 24th of June. Earlier, the Prime Minister also met with his Vietnamese counterpart Pham Minh Chinh and President of South Korea Yoon Suk Yeol. During his meeting with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, the Prime Minister reviewed and assessed the progress in bilateral relations. Earlier, as a symbol of friendship and goodwill, the Prime Minister unveiled a bust of Mahatma Gandhi in Hiroshima.
हिरोशिमा की धरती पर और जापान जो कि भगवान बुद्ध के विचारों के थे, वहां पूज्य बापू की प्रतिमा अहिंसा के, करुणा के उन विचारों को आगे ले जाने में बहुत बड़ी प्रेरणा बनेंगे। मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है, हिरोशिमा याद आते ही शांति के महत्व दुनिया समझ सकती है। मैं पूज्य बापू को आदरपूर्वक श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं। मैं जापान गवर्नमेंट का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि उन्होंने पूज्य बापू की प्रतिमा को यहां पर स्थान दिया।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that security and success of the Indo-Pacific is important not just for the region but for the entire world. Addressing the Quad summit in Hiroshima on the sidelines of the G7 summit, Mr. Modi said the Quad group has established itself as an important platform for peace, stability and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region.
इसमें कोई संदेह नहीं है कि इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में वैश्विक व्यापार का, इनोवेशन और विकास का इंजन है। हम एक मत हैं कि इंडो पैसिफिक की सुरक्षा और सफलता केवल एक क्षेत्र के लिए नहीं बल्कि पूरे विश्व के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है। रचनात्मक एजेंडा के साथ साझा लोकतांत्रिक मूल्यों के आधार पर हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। साझा प्रयासों से हम फ्री, ओपन और इंक्लूसिव इंडो पैसिफिक के हमारे विजन को प्रैक्टिकल डायमेंशन दे रहे हैं।
The Prime Minister said India will be happy to host the Quad summit in 2024.
मेरा मानना है कि क्वाड वैश्विक भलाई, मानव कल्याण, शांति और समृद्धि के लिए निरंतर प्रयत्न करता रहेगा। 2024 में क्वाड लीडर समिट का आयोजन भारत में करने में हमें खुशी होगी।
Later in a joint statement, Quad leaders unequivocally condemned terrorism and violent extremism in all its forms and manifestations, including cross-border terrorism. They reiterated their condemnation of terrorist attacks, including the 26/11 attacks in Mumbai and in Pathankot. The statement also emphasized on commitment to pursuing designations by the UN Security Council 1267 Sanctions Committee as appropriate. The Quad leaders, comprising leaders of Australia, India, Japan and the US, expressed their shared vision of a region where no country dominates and all countries are free from coercion. The Quad leaders affirmed their support for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN's centrality, unity and recognizing its regional leadership role. Mr. Modi met Japanese scholars Professor Tomio Mizukami and renowned artist Hiroko Takayama during his Hiroshima visit. Professor Mizukami is a Padma awardee and a distinguished Hindi and Punjabi linguist. Hiroko Takayama has a close association with India. This is Akashwani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Siddaramaiah assumed charge as the Chief Minister of Karnataka today. After assuming the charge, he held the first cabinet meeting and took in-principle decision to implement 5 guarantees promised by the Congress party in its manifesto. Briefing media persons in Bengaluru after the cabinet meeting, the Chief Minister said that Gruha Jyoti Yojana, Gruha Lakshmi Yojana, Anna Bhagya Yojana, Yuva Nidhi and free bus travel to women passengers will be implemented in the state. The Chief Minister said the Assembly session will be called from May the 22nd to the 24th. He informed that senior legislator R.V. Deshpande will be the pro-tem speaker to transact business in the House. Union Home and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah has said the BJP government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is according the highest priority to coastal security in the country. The minister was addressing a gathering after laying the foundation stone of the permanent campus of the National Academy of Coastal Policing at Okha in Dwarka. Mr. Shah said the new academy will provide training facilities to more than 3,000 security personnel annually.
मुंबई पर आतंकी हमले के बाद विचार शुरू हुआ, तब इसकी जरूरत महसूस की गई कि एक ही प्रकार का रिस्पॉन्स और एक ही प्रकार का रिस्पॉन्ड ये तट के हर पुलिस स्टेशन से, हर सीमा सुरक्षा दल के जवान से और हमारे कोस्ट गार्ड के जवानों से मिलना चाहिए। वो तभी हो सकता है। तटीय सुरक्षा के लिए प्रशिक्षण की व्यवस्था की जाए। नेशनल कोस्टल पुलिस एकेडमी को ये ओखा की पवित्र भूमि पर स्थापित करने का निर्णय किया गया।
During the function, the Home Minister also virtually inaugurated 5 coastal outposts of BSF located up the Jakhau coast of the Kutch district. Later, Mr. Shah inaugurated and laid the foundation stones for various developmental projects worth 400 crore rupees of the Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation. As the Narendra Modi government is completing 9 years in office this month, Akashvani News is bringing a series of special stories on the initiatives taken by the government. Today, we take a look at the increased size of the Indian economy. In the last 9 years, the government has taken several big decisions which have helped speed up the country's growth rate. According to the World Bank, India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and its overall growth will remain robust.
Government was very specific from day one that growth and development will be their foremost priority. It has taken various steps to boost manufacturing, domestic and foreign investments in India. These include introduction of PLI schemes in 14 sectors, goods and services tax, reduction in corporate tax, improving ease of doing business and FDI policy reforms. Addressing a function in Hyderabad last year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said that today the world is realizing that India means business.
आज भारत G20 देशों के समूह में फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी है। सदी की इस सबसे बड़ी आपदा में ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन्स में इतना बड़ा डिस्ट्रप्शन हुआ, फिर युद्ध ने भी इस संकट को और बढ़ा दिया। इन सब के बीच भी भारत आज ग्रोथ के एक बड़े केंद्र के रूप में उभर रहा है। पिछले साल भारत में अब तक का सबसे ज्यादा रिकॉर्ड FDI आया। आज दुनिया ये महसूस कर रही है कि इंडिया मीन्स business.
Due to the policies of the Narendra Modi government, the country's economy remains strong despite the COVID pandemic. Strong economic growth in the last 9 years has helped India overcome the UK to become the 5th largest economy in the world. The size of the Indian economy has increased from 10th position to 5th position. India has set a target to become a $5 trillion economy by 2025, and it is projected to become the world's 3rd largest economy in the coming years. With Dipendra Kumar, Suparna Saikya, Akashvani News, Delhi.
In Manipur, the government has decided to start physical classes for the students who are taking shelter at different relief centres in the state. The State Education Minister Basanta Kumar said that around 4,750 students of pre-primary to 12 standards are taking shelter in these relief centres. The physical class for these students will commence from Monday at designated schools located nearby to the centres. He said the government will provide textbooks, notebooks, uniforms, equipment for games and sports and other related items to the students. In Archery World Cup Stage 2, India won 3 gold and a bronze medal at Shanghai. Teenage Indian archer Prathamesh Javkar defeated the world number 1 Mike Floesser of the Netherlands to win a maiden World Cup gold medal in the men's individual compound section. In the non-Olympic compound section, India bagged 2 gold with a mixed team duo of Ojas Devtale and Jyoti Surekha Vennam, beating top-seeded Korean team 156 to 155. Earlier in the compound mixed team event yesterday, mixed team duo of Sheetal and Rakesh also bagged gold. Avneet Kaur won bronze medal in the women's individual compound category. India Meteorological Department IMD has predicted heat wave conditions over isolated pockets of northwest, central and east India during the next 2 to 3 days. The maximum temperatures are likely to rise by 2 to 4 degrees Celsius over northwest India during the next 3 days. In IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings stormed into playoff stage, beating Delhi Capitals by 77 runs in their last league stage match in New Delhi this evening. The second match between Kolkata Knight Riders and Lucknow Super Giants is now underway in Kolkata. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gives 10-point call to action at G7 to address food, health and development-related issues plaguing the world. Security and success of Indo-Pacific region is important for the entire world, says Prime Minister Modi at Quad Summit in Hiroshima. Prime Minister holds bilateral meetings with world leaders on the sidelines of G7 summit, including French, US and Ukrainian presidents and Japanese Prime Minister. Karnataka Cabinet takes in principle decision to implement 5 guarantees promised by the Congress in its manifesto. India win 3 gold and bronze medal in Archery World Cup Stage 2 at Shanghai. That is all in the news at 9. Good night.